Okay, I'm recording and it should be streaming live now.
I'm gonna go look right now.
Hello again, everybody.
Yep, it is recording. Yep. So we are being streamed live already and it is being recorded.
Thank you.
Yep. And I think we almost have everybody.
Beth is having some technical difficulty.
Yeah. I know a couple of you just came in. We have, this is streaming live on YouTube as required, and we are recording it, and we'll post it there as well.
I just saw the piece on the news. Nice job.
Did it turn out okay? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay, good.
Which
Good.
channel?
13.
Channel 8 wanted to do something too. We offered them a chance to join in with 13, but we didn't hear back, so I didn't have a whole lot of time on my schedule today, unfortunately.
You did it.
Oh, there's Beth.
Beth.
Hey.
I hate technology. Oh.
I think we have everybody, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's knocking down our door to attend the public hearing based on the numbers.
Shocking.
But they could be watching it on YouTube and we wouldn't know.
Okay.
We opened it to questions to Brian on the website, so,
Oh, smart.
so I don't know who opens up the meeting.
So if we want to start, I know Brian has a screen to share. Brian, you should be able to share it. If not, let me know.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yeah, so take a hint, would you? Okay, so it's not there. I know how to allow you to share, but I can't.
Do you want me to ask Caroline for it?
So no, I think what I'll do, actually, Brian, if you can share that with me, I'll bring it up.
Yep.
I know you have previously shared it with me, but I'll probably be able to find it quicker if you share it again.
Yep, I just sent it.
Thank you. Whoops. All right, now I can share it. Hopefully everybody can see that. Give me a thumbs up if you can. All right.
So you want me to go through it a little bit?
Go ahead if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. Yeah, so the original code of conduct that the district initiated, that this is based off, that our current code of conduct is off of, came from NISBA. It's a number of years ago. NISBA periodically puts out updates and recommendations for the code of conduct. And so while it looks like there's a ton of changes in here, it's not a lot of substantive changes. It's a lot of wording changes and things like that. A couple of the areas that are more real, I guess, in terms of changes is the idea of adding restorative practices, which NISBA recommends and our district has been implementing the last couple of years, so it aligns with what we're doing. A lot of the other things are around language choice, just changing some wording, further defining our essential partners and what we expect out of them, what we expect out of our student conduct, how we report violations, and a lot of, as I said, a lot of language things. They've also recommended adding trauma informed, which again is a concept that our district has been working on for a few years. So it again aligns with what we're doing already.
Go to the next slide, Brian.
Sure. Any questions or comments with that? Good. Okay. Yep. The next slide is the district safety plan. And similarly, the district safety plan gets updated, kind of a template gets updated from the state. And with that template, they give some minor revisions and recommendations each year. We had a subcommittee of our district health and safety team led by Vern that took a look at that. And, they really Vern really led that and used that template from the state. Most of the changes, the vast majority of the changes, come from that template that they give us. Some of the things that we do in-house, an example of that would be updating our prevention strategies. Our BIT team, for example, our behavior intervention team is something that's new to the district that we've added. Some of the groups and things that we do with above the influence, sources of strength, GSA, those things get changed and updated into the plan. Any questions or comments with that one?
That was it, right, Brian? Just the 2 slides?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so people can see each other better. Not because I don't want to share. Thanks. Great work on that. This is, something we do each year to update it and always trying to improve upon it. So thank you to Vern and to Brian for leading this work. It's really, really good improvements.
Thank you.
Brian, you haven't received any questions, I'm assuming at this point, because when we put this out there, we said that people could ask questions of Brian, and typically we don't have a whole lot of questions about it. So just want to make sure.
Yeah, very similarly to every year, I have 0 questions so far.
All right, great. Well, thank you. So we have about 9 minutes until the board meeting starts. We can just sit here and stare at each other, or we can turn our microphone and camera off and come back in 9 minutes, whatever your pleasure. Oh, Beth, you're muted. I know you tried to say something.
I'm not going anywhere. I might never get back. Just gonna stay right here.
Did anyone catch me muting myself and kicking my son out of the house about halfway through there?
No, that was really well done. What was your secret? I didn't even notice. Oh, you saw that. Okay.
It's smooth. It's funny how we become
practice.
Yeah, we become professional at Zooming, I suppose.
Yeah.
I just
Thank
stay
goodness
muted
for it.
all the time because you would hear screaming all of the time in the background.
Interestingly enough, and I have a lot during the superintendent report, so I probably won't bring this part up, but you probably saw we did a thought exchange today on, how was the closure? What went well? What obstacles? What ideas do you have? I think last check we had maybe 300, almost 300 people make comments and a few thousand interactions with those comments already, and it's only been out there for a few hours. And the feedback's been really valuable. Kind of goes back to people really like those regular communications from their teachers with the plan for the week, the communications coming from the district on a scheduled, structured process. In that product, it's funny, it flags anytime they mention an actual person, it flags and pulls it out because they don't want anything disparaging said about a person. But really what it is thank you so much to so-and-so. You made this you did such a great job Zooming and making this exciting and fun and engaging. Or I really wish I could have been in class with so-and-so because they explain so much in person and it's easier to learn from them that way. And it's, it just reminds us of how lucky we are to have such great staff that are really going above and beyond during a difficult time.
Nice.
I am going to have a difficult time when this ends because I get to vicariously learn things that I've forgotten through listening to my kids Zoom.
I had a new one today. We called our fourth grade daughter down to pick something up that she left out, and she stormed out of her room. Oh, I was just about to start iReady. and, stormed downstairs, and we interrupted her learning, apparently, making her clean up her breakfast.
Jamie, the report from the seniors so far is they're very, very excited about Bristol and the parade. So really, really well done. I know that was like so much like who the heck knows what's going to happen, and we'll still keep our fingers crossed, but really exciting.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. They'll remember it, I would imagine.
And no one will forget. You might raise a bar in a different way than you expected, though, for future years.
Yeah, that's what we're afraid of.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Get through a couple years and memories will become short.
It'll be fun. I would hope. I hope it's, they love it, and looking forward to it. And there's so much detail. And thank you to Vern Tenney. He has been such a planner, and I get these crazy ideas, and I would call him thinking, oh, I need to brace because he's not going to be happy about this. But he was such a good sport, and always was excited about each new idea. And he had some great ideas, and he would map it out. And I even called him Friday night and said, the governor's saying no more than 10. What if we did this like a Monday through Thursday, 10 at a time, all day long? And it was Friday night, and he said, I like it. Let me work on it. By the next morning, he had a whole detailed plan mapped out and emailed me. So he was just such a good sport, and very a huge help making it happen.
Well, it has been nothing but popular from what I've heard. In fact, some of the biggest hoorays I've heard in a long time. So bravo.
Well, I don't think it's popular with everybody. Well, I know it's not, because I've received some of those communications too, and it's tough. It's heartbreaking, and I wish I could do something that would make everybody happy. I told Jeannie, I think a little bit ago, I think we're batting about 85, maybe 90%. People are really excited about this, and we have 10 to 15 that are disappointed, and I get it. I'd rather do our traditional at CMAC. That's what we do, and that's what we know, and that's what's comfortable, and it's tradition, but we're not able to. Makes it tough.
And in truth, if we rolled out our traditional graduation to everybody, I would suspect we'd bat maybe about 85% on that plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and the hard part, people are asking, can we delay till the end of January? And the difficulty with that, there's just so much unknown. What if things might not even change by then, and we're holding out for nothing, and we have a really dynamite plan, I believe,
Right.
that we may not be able to deliver at the end of July. So what, I don't see why we would hold. And people move on, kids go off to college or to the military or to work.
Yeah.
Families have vacations with large deposits, and there's just so much to consider. And I know other districts are doing it. It's just felt this. I believe this is what's right for us. I will mention I was nervous to call Chris at CMAC, because they've been such great, fantastic partners of ours, and I didn't want to upset them. He could not have been more gracious and understanding of why we couldn't do it there. And I just said, we can, with 150, we can really only do about 40 seniors at a time with 3 adults. And it doesn't make sense to have such a huge venue for 40 at a time. And, you probably read about the senior gala concept. And I said, well, maybe we could do that at CMAC. I know you're probably hurting, and we'd love to give you business. And I said, the other option is we're looking at Lincoln Hill Farms. And he said, you know what? They're hurting more than we are. That's a great venue. It's perfect. Why don't you do it there? Here's the guy's number. And in fact, if you need any audio equipment, refrigeration, lighting, you let us know, free of charge. We'll move it up there and make sure you have everything you need. We want to help any way we can. And he called ahead that, before I even called them, to give him a heads up that I'd be calling. And our friends at CMAC have just been beyond wonderful about all of this. So I'm so thankful to them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is it okay to write a letter to the editor, just sort of highlighting some of the I don't want to miss anybody, but I think they deserve that the community knows how generous they've all been. And I can run it by you and Caroline and Deb and see if it's right or accurate or?
I love that. And I think what I was actually thinking is some kind of a letter on behalf of the district. The school year is ending. And so thanking everybody, and, you know, whether there's so many organizations and companies that have been helpful, but families and students and staff. And, you know, I would like to write some kind of a heartfelt thank you to everybody.
Yep.
But yeah, specific thank yous would be great too.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have about 1 minute, right, Deb?
Yes, I'm watching.
1 minute.
Good to go. All right, I'll call the meeting to order and ask everyone to stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Really nice to see everyone, and I miss everyone terribly. I know Jamie's going to have a lot to say about this, but we will write letters to the community, but the work of the district has been absolutely remarkable. I just can't think of a corner of our schools that hasn't pitched in, stepped up, run into trouble, figured it out, gotten help, and come out smiling because it's always through the lens of what's best for kids. So what a phenomenal school district we have in a really special, wonderful community. So if anyone from the community is listening, thank you. Our school district is unparalleled. So thank you to everybody. I know many of you whose faces I'm looking at right now are behind a lot of what's been going on, and you back there too, Deb. So thank you to everyone. That's all I have, Jamie. Your turn.
Well, I don't really want to follow that because you're going to make me.
I am.
So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we meet as a cabinet through Zoom. And I usually have a saying or a quote that I start the meeting with. And this morning at 7 a.m. when we met, all of us, the quote was, "Be nimble, be nimble." And so we've always taught, we're taught when you go into education, you have to remain flexible. You have to remain nimble because things can change on the fly. And wow, did they over this weekend change on the fly. From Friday night until Sunday, significant changes announced through Governor Cuomo's executive orders that really made us throw out quite literally weeks worth of work potentially. And it's been difficult, it's been challenging. My quote, I'm gonna kind of give a little highlight or a little sneak preview. My quote for Wednesday is, "Bend, don't break." And so, you know, this is going to bend us, but we can't break. We need to figure this out, and we are. But I just want to highlight a few things. Number one, you mentioned Deb behind me as she types away with the notes. She has been working around the clock and tirelessly with absentee ballots. Last year, we had about 1,800 votes through absentee ballots, and this is no surprise to anybody, and it's not unique to Canandaigua. This is happening everywhere. We're probably around 6,000 right now. And so when you receive that number of votes, you actually have to log them in to make sure people aren't voting twice. And so really starts early in the morning, 7 a.m., and it goes right through the evening hours ever since they started arriving last week. So the fact that the governor extended the deadline for voting from tomorrow, the 9th, to a week from tomorrow, the 16th, means that that's a lot more work that'll need to be done. And so just a kudos to Deb, and she's had some help with Tammy and Rebecca and a few others. We've had Barb and Reggie and Amy, and I know I'm forgetting others that have come in and worked tirelessly to help with this because it is monumental. Every little detail Brian, Mike, and Dan up at the Ops Center looking at how are we going to stage this? Because now we have to open these on the 16th after 5:15 p.m., count them all, make sure they're accurate, stream it with volume, record it. If we can't finish it, we need to lock everything down, record all night long, take pictures before and after, and then come back the next day and finish. It is a monumental task, but it's one we'll meet that challenge because we have such a fantastic team, but it's exhausting. Commencement, middle of end of last week, Governor Cuomo said that drive-in or drive-through commencements were allowed, no more than 10 people in any gathering. I spent an inordinate amount of time on the phone with county leaders, elected officials. I'm pretty sure I drove Bob Duffy crazy with all the emails I was sending him. And every time I sent it, I said, I apologize, it's the last one. In parentheses, I put, I'm just kidding, there'll be more. And I sent him many, and he was great. He forwarded them on to the governor's office. And I just had the sense that something was coming. He was reassuring that something would be coming that would alleviate some of the pressure. And I'll be honest, the plan that we rolled out today, I shared, and some of you heard, that Vern and I worked on a plan to do it in groups of 10 over many, many days. And we were hopeful that the folks at Bristol Mountain would allow for that. But when that news came on Sunday, what a relief it was. What a relief that I felt like now we're not stepping into a gray area and I have to feel a pit in my stomach about it the entire time, wondering, are we violating something? This gives us more flexibility. It's not perfect, but I could promise it'll be special and it'll be memorable. And so to everybody who has put in countless hours on this, our city manager, our fire chief, our police chief, all right there ready to go. The director of safety at FLCC, the folks at FLCC, thank you. We will make this memorable and special for kids. The folks at Lincoln Hill Farms, who, when I called and talked to them today about this concept, said, yeah, let's do it right now. Let's do it tonight. You know, they're ready to go and happy to make it happen. And so to Jeannie's point, people are stepping up for our kids and wanting to make this special. You know, it's funny, about 2 weeks ago, end of May, actually, Governor Cuomo, as promised, said he would make a decision about summer school. And he made a decision and said there'll be no in-person summer school. So in talking with Stephanie and her team and trying to wrap our heads around what virtual summer school meant and looked like, and even for Jean McKenzie and Vern and John and everybody, what does virtual summer school look like? Holding meetings with our students with IEPs, explaining to parents that it won't be in person, it'll be virtual, and this is what it will look like. Are you interested in this? Are you not? And then planning for it, trying to hire staff for it. Over the weekend, Friday night, in fact, Governor Cuomo said in-person summer school can occur for students with IEPs. Weeks worth of meetings and preparation could be out the window, but we have no guidance. That's the frustrating part. With all of these things I'm explaining to you, there's very little guidance to direct us. And so we're trying to build without an instruction manual. I know sometimes I do that. I don't know if any of you have done that. It usually doesn't work out well for me, but it's very challenging. But kudos to Stephanie and her staff. They are still digging into this. There's not much clarity, and we don't know where we're going with it, but we're going to do our very best to do what's best for kids. And that can only be our intention. And then interesting, today I just saw in the executive order around commencement, there was language, I didn't even see it. No, I don't think anybody did. There was actually language snuck in there about APPR. We've been waiting for language around teacher and teaching assistant accountability measures and what that would be. It was in there, and there was no attention drawn to it until somebody found it and shared it out today. And all it says is basically we're excused from it this year, but we don't know what that means. we don't know, you know, people can get tenure if they're on track for it, it sounds like. We don't need to enter a score. But other than that, it was maybe 2 or 3 sentences worth of information. So that was new today that we learned. That's been kind of what we're living in. I've been vocal. We have a fantastic team here in Canandaigua. Like I said, our leadership team meets 2 to 3 times every week. Fantastic team. We've been able to plan and prepare without guidance. because we have such skilled people that can really dig in. Brian is digging into what are the safety measures we need to put into place in the various contingency plans that we're outlining next year. And he's working with Mike McLean and different people. And so we're able to really dig into this. And I've been pressing this with local legislators. I actually shared this plan that we've started to develop with Bob Duffy. Pam Helming, had a call with her. She even said, I think the governor should just use your plan as a template for the whole state. This looks like a great plan, and it makes a lot of sense. Bob Duffy echoed very similar sentiments. I did find out at the end of last week that I'll be serving on the state's NICED's reopening task force. So hopefully I'll have a voice in there and can start sharing some of that, because here's the reality. Here's my frustration and worry. We're not getting a lot of guidance, and we're running out of time. Opening in September is going to be monumental. And so we need to press the governor's office to give us some guidance, or at least allow us to create guidance so we know what we're working on between now and the middle of July. After that, it's too late. I don't think we can get it all together in time in a thoughtful and proper manner. And so that's really been the bulk of the work. I know we communicate pretty relentlessly in the community, and you get all those communications, and it is transparent. There's been multiple times people have asked, can we break those communications out? It's a lot to read. Can we make one just for staff and one for parents, or one for so forth and so on? And my response has always been, no, it's strategic. We're all in this together. All the information we're sharing, there's no secrets here. We are all working on this together, and we need to be informed together. And I think that's helped. So I'm glad we were able to stay that course. So as if that wasn't enough, we're also in the process of a significant social equity unrest, right? We're seeing such turmoil all over the place. And, you know, I think back to our work with the vision and mission plan, and I think back to our vision, one community transforming lives. 4 words, that's all it was, is 4 words. But I remembered when we went to teach that to our staff and to our community, it took hours to explain what 4 words meant. There's a lot of meaning to it. There's a lot of depth to that. And then we created 4 goals. And one of those goals was to create an inclusive and equitable school environment. And what we had in mind was our demographics are changing rapidly here in Canandaigua. And we need to make sure everybody has the same chance at success, that everybody's voice is heard. You know, the district has, like all districts, struggled with equity and inclusion. We've heard stories of our students that have struggled when they went here with racism and hurtful remarks. And it's our job as leaders to help with that situation. And I wanted to thank Matt Schrage and Jeannie and Caroline and everybody who helped to contribute to that piece of writing that we put forth over the weekend, our district's response to it. I think the folks that have read it and saw it, that were concerned about kind of our state of affairs here, have felt relieved to know that we do take it serious. And in fact, we've been working on this before this recent turn of events. I actually had a phone call today with Sim Covington. He is the Chief Diversity Officer at FLCC. And as I explained to him everything we were doing, he was impressed. He's asked me to serve on a forum with him and Officer Henderson and Chief Hedworth, and it'll be moderated by Ethan Fogg. So it'll be one of the chamber's events, and I said more than happy to. And he said, I'd just like you to outline what the district's been working on. It was in that letter. He said, because people need to know what you're doing, because this is good stuff. I've talked to Louvel frequently. Louvel helped us with our vision. He's my mentor. He's one of the global leaders around equity and inclusion. He's been so helpful. And I believe if you're watching on social media, he took our statement and he commented that it was very impressive. And so he was proud of our beliefs here. But I think back to opening day, when I presented on our changing demographics, and Dr. Eversley Bradswell talked about the history of slavery and oppression. And then Dr. Brown talked about, what does that mean for education? What does that mean for us? And I think about when that all ended, that was a heavy topic. When that all ended, we had people come forward and thank us. We had emails upon emails thanking us for engaging in this work. But in the weeks that came after that, I also had staff say, I guess I don't understand. Why did we do that? I hope they now know exactly why we are doing this. We have a lot of diversity in our school district, whether it's racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, gender, you name it. I mean, it goes on and on and on. LGBTQ, everyone matters. And that's what it boils down to, making sure everybody feels that their voice matters and is heard, and they have an equal chance for success. So we'll continue this work. And with that, what I'd ask, or at least like to inform you all, is my intention to start a committee focused on moving forward equity and inclusion in the Canandaigua community. So it can't be specific to our school district. It needs to be specific to our community. We need school district representation, but we also need community leaders to help move this forward. So with that being said, I know it is a lot. I shared a lot from the state level, and I also shared a lot from just society. I'm happy to answer any questions or field any thoughts that you might have in relation to what I've stated.
Michelle?
I'm just happy to speak on behalf of Canandaigua National Bank. We'd be happy to join you in that initiative, Jamie.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm
Thank
going to take you up on it.
Any other questions or comments? Anything else, Jamie?
Can that be enough for today, please?
I think so. I think that should be enough for a while. Thank you. Thank you for all of the work that goes into all of this. Okay, we'll get down to the bulk of the agenda here, the consensus agenda and supplemental. I'll ask for motions, please.
Oh, we have a couple changes. I'm sorry. So
I
we
got
have
the
two.
bill, but I'll come back to you. Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's
We have
okay.
two additions. So for election inspectors, to add Amy Bennett, we'll need more. Obviously, it's a lot of work. And then to amend the special board meeting, it was supposed to be on the 10th. It'll now need to be on June 11th because I'm sorry. It'll now be June 17th because it was delayed by a week. So from the 10th to the 17th.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I'll amend that to the consensus agenda with changes, supplemental also. Bill, are you still, I don't know, there you are. Bill, are you still first? Thank you. And a second, please. Milton, questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? That carries unanimously. Deb, thank you. Did CIE meet, Matt? You're
Still
muted.
muted.
Yes, we did. So CIE wrapped up with its final meeting of the school year. We had a couple of updates from our ENL as well as our science curriculum review processes, and they put forward some recommendations that CIE wholeheartedly embraced. Both committees did a great job and offered some really strong recommendations to help build upon each one of the programs. We also heard about outcomes development processes from foreign language as well as visual arts. We had a couple of reports for our AIS plan as well as our district professional learning plan, and those will come before the Board of Education as the reorganizational meeting in July. So we wrapped up with also welcoming and thanking those that will be joining us next year as new CIE members, while also acknowledging the work of a few folks who will not be returning. And some of those were some pretty long-standing members that served a couple of terms on CIEs who we're certainly grateful for all their contributions.
Great, thank you. I don't know that there's anything else. Jamie, anything else from you?
Of course, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Everybody's so happy right now. So I did receive this letter. We have different scholarship committees, and one of the chairs of one of the scholarship committees sent a letter to Mr. Tenney and myself because they were moved by the application essay by one of the students, and they took an excerpt that they wanted me to share with the board. And so if you wouldn't mind, this was the scholarship winner, and one of the paragraphs towards the end of her essay, it says, "Throughout my years in high school and the Canandaigua City School District, I have learned many things. One of the biggest lessons I learned is that I'll take with me for the rest of my life is to never settle. I'll do whatever it takes, and I will always work above and beyond to achieve my goals and dreams to one day become the best teacher I can be. One day when I have my very own classroom, I'll look back at my spunky, curly-haired third grade self and thank her for having the curiosity and strength to look beyond the typical stereotype of a teacher and find the true meaning of being an educator." And so we need this student to come back and be a teacher here in Canandaigua in 4 years. So I just thought that was a really, really special excerpt. Wanted to share.
Great ending. Thank you.
Thank
If
you.
there's nothing for the greater good, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Michelle, and a second, please. Beth, I can't tell if you're crying or your hand went up. Both. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see each other soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.